Hello everyone, it's your boy Bruce Wayne. Today we are gonna build Creality's Ender 3 version of the 3D printer like a regular person, meaning without any prior experience of building 3D printer or whatsoever. I'm just gonna stick with the manual provided with the box and watch some YouTube videos and build it along the way. By doing so, you will get an realistic sense of time frame and skill set that would be required to build one yourself. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. I can't reach the camera. It's 1:20 a.m. Okay, now we have opened the box and looks like there's something inside it. Obviously this is me from the future giving voiceover to the video, but still I have no clue what that is. If you know what it is, drop it in the comments. So there is a box inside the box, which from a packaging standpoint of view is great, as it is durable, it can withstand loads I think, and probably some splash of water since the whole thing is taped up. But boy is it tight. I mean, I tried hard to take it out, but it seems easier to take out Bane than this box.
Where's the trigger? Where is it? Where is it?
Where is the trigger? Where is it? Where is the trigger?
A few minutes later.
I finally gave up and decided to just open the box. Let me show what's inside the box. Looks like we have the instruction manual with the warranty card, and here's the print bed with W.o.L sticker on it, and here's the power supply, and I didn't know what that thing was at the time, but I'll show you at the end what it's used for. Here's the LCD display with a controlling knob. I'm just gonna keep it there. By the way, oops, I was planning to place a 3D printer right here. Anyways, here's a couple of rails. I'm not sure which axis it's for, but yeah, I think I'm gonna move the box down. This is where you gotta check everything before you turn on, because one of the bed leveling screws came off with the package. Here's the X-axis motor with the filament feeding motor. It's quite complex structure. And here's the power supply. Make sure to switch the voltage depending upon your country. In my case it's 230 volts. If you are living in US, it could be 115 volts. If you keep that wrong, it's definitely gonna fry something. And that would be the end of first layer. We got a second set of rails. I'm gonna keep it there as well. You can easily differentiate between them. And Here's the power cord along with the thing the filament spool sits on, and here are some bearings for the Z-axis. And some sample filament along with the 0.4 mm nozzles and belts and Z-stop switch. A good quality scraper, a whole bunch of screws, and this is again part of the filament holder, and finally a Z-axis motor, and I think that's about it. Yep, that's it. So we gotta put them together. Hey guys, it's me from the future. I wore the same shirt so that you could easily recognize me. Not that I like wearing it all the time. So I wanted to give a little bit info about the company I got this from. Obviously this is not a sponsored video, but turns out Creality doesn't directly deal with India. So if you are not living in India, you could skip this part. So I had to get it through a third-party authorized dealer from Amazon. In my case, it's called W.o.L, short for World of Lilliput. They claim they are the only authorized dealer for Creality in India. I'm not sure about the fact, but yeah, if you need to claim your warranty or get it serviced, you have to do it through them. They claim to have a 24/7 WhatsApp support, but I highly doubt it. Even on a Tuesday afternoon you won't get the quickest reply, but yeah, they will eventually help you through. You might get confused by the term upgraded Ender 3 which they are selling, because from the reviews I read online, apparently there is nothing modified apart from slapping their stickers wherever they can. Well, where have I heard this before?
Taking the guy they call War Machine and giving him a paint job.
Same suit, but painted red, white, and blue. Look at that. And they also renamed him Iron Patriot, you know, just in case if the paint was too subtle.
Nope, doesn't ring a bell. So we'll find out if that's really the case here. Also, I think this goes without saying, if you tamper with the motherboard or anything else, your warranty gets completely void. But later I will explain why you might be tempted to do so. Okay, since I am already in the past, I wanted you to know that 42 is the answer. Now, back to my old self. Okay, I was just looking at these parts and surprisingly, I think the upgraded version has included an all metal extruder. This is a good thing because there were complaints about plastic extruders, and I also think they have included the tube for the filament, which is also an upgrade. I'm not sure which tube this one is, but yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Let's start with the instructions. So these are the instructions. I guess I'll try to drop a screenshot of this, but just in case, it's like this. What's the first step? Okay, I'm gonna have to stop myself right there. First I thought I was going to make a how-to tutorial, but since I'm also a newbie here, it won't be a good idea to follow along. Also, the instructions are pretty much spot on. Given that I have a degree in mechanical engineering, I think anyone who has ever built something in Lego can easily do this. So I think I'm gonna make a quick time lapse of the build or a montage of the assembly and go through our parts where I got stuck. I think it's worth mentioning that the tools and the screws are all provided with the box, so you need not worry about shopping in between the build. Okay, there is nothing important here. I just thought of sharing the meme. I'm not sure if you can quite see this on camera, but I'm sure that Sherlock Holmes would be looking out for that. This is the needle used for cleaning clogged nozzles.
And his loyal dog. Tell me, Doctor, as a medical man, have you enjoyed my work?
Let me show you how much I've enjoyed it. Watson! Don't!
Observe.
How did you see that?
Because I was looking for it.
So it took me about 2 hours to complete the build. I wouldn't say I was very efficient, but if you didn't waste any time and you had prior experience in building 3D printers, you could do it in 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, here I saw something crazy when I was looking around. The motherboard was black in color. You might ask, why does the color even matter, right? Well, here it does matter because Creality used to ship these with 1.1.4 version of the motherboard, which is primarily green in color. Although it does its job, it's terrible for so many reasons. Like it's loud, it's 8-bit processor, so less memory to work with, and you can't even upgrade the firmware without help of bootloaders like Arduino or something else, which is important. Well, after the first Ender 3 came out, Creality was well aware of these issues and they released a new motherboard which is versioned 1.1.5. It's called the Silent board. So why is it called Silent motherboard? Well, contrary to our intuition, the noise is definitely from the motors, but not that because of the motor is of low quality or something. It's because of the motor driver used in the first version of the Ender 3. So the stepper motor works on incremental steps, right? You can control something in the order of 1/12 of a degree or 1/8 of a degree. So basically, if the motor driver cannot catch up with that finer level of accuracy, it's gonna jump to a higher steps, which leads to the noise from the machine. You know, one analogy might be like playing a 144 pixel low resolution video on a newly bought 4K monitor. It's still gonna be crappy, right? Same thing applies here. Even when the motors are good enough, but the driver is low resolution, you are still gonna get the same resolution from the motors, and it's still gonna make that noise from the traditional 2D printers. So what makes these silent boards special is, first off, it's 32-bit processor, which means you have more memory to play with. Secondly, it doesn't require a bootloader to upgrade your firmware. You just need to put it in your SD card and it will flash it for you. And finally, it has TMC controller, which basically makes your printer go silent. I mean, you wouldn't notice if something was printing if it wasn't for the fan noise. Well, turns out I didn't get the silent board. So Creality is shipping Ender 3 with two kinds of newer motherboards. One is version 4.2.2 and 4.2.7, where the 4.2.7 is basically a silent board, but the 4.2.2 which I got has 32-bit processor, doesn't require a bootloader, but it is not silent. But it doesn't use TMC chips. Instead, it uses something called as HR chips, which from fair amount of googling I found out that not only it's opposite of silent, it also affects the print quality. Some users have noted that they have gotten something called salmon skins on their print, which means this board, apart from being a 32-bit board, does a worse job than the first version of the Ender 3. I have to say I have gotten decent prints from this, but basically what it says is it can be a lot better with the silent. So this is why you might want to switch the motherboard if it does void your warranty. So you have to upgrade the firmware in these boards because they come with a stock firmware which is quite old and they don't have thermal runaway protection enabled. So what a thermal runaway protection is, when your printer is heating your nozzle, it gets a feedback from a thermistor that this is the temperature of the nozzle. But when the thermistor fails, the printer doesn't know that it's heating up and just constantly heats up the hot end, which might cause fires. With the thermal runaway protection enabled, it should detect that something has gone wrong and it should stop. So features like these are really important because back then 3D printers were notorious for catching fires, and we have come a long way trying to make everything safe as possible and avoid catching fires. What? Do you want me to peel it? Nah, I'm too Indian to do that. Maybe if I get 500 likes on this video, I'll do it in a separate video. Okay, I think that's enough talking. I'll leave you guys with some sped up footage of some of the prints I got. Although the print looks pretty good, yeah, right off the bat you might notice something really odd. Let me show you. See that how that chimney is not round but looks like a magnetic hysteresis curve? That's because I forgot to tighten the x-axis belt, and after tightening it the problem is solved. Here's one of the perks of you having a 3D printer. You get to 3D print parts that is needed for the 3D printer itself, which is pretty cool. right? I slow down this part a bit because I think it's really satisfying to watch it bridge the roof without any support material. You ask me, Ender 3 is not only a good 3D printer to get your hands on 3D printing, but also if your requirements meet the print volume, it actually does a good job in printing. That being said, you might ask which version to go with, because quite few variations of Ender 3. There is the Ender 3, there is Ender 3 Pro with minor improvements like magnetic bed, improved power supply and minor stuff, and it costs $100 more than this. And then there is Ender 3 V2 which came out this July. It also has slight improvements in the Ender 3. It has silent motherboard, it has new graphical display which is not touchscreen, by the way. So honestly, I don't think those improvements are worth the price, and I would recommend you to go with the basic version of Ender 3 and spend $50 or $60 upgrading it, so that you will save money and get far better prints than those two versions. And that's my review on Ender 3. I'll make sure to drop link in the description to buy one of these. And if this video sucked, you know what to do. Else give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. That would help me make more videos like this. See you guys in the next one.